So I want to talk about competing on content in the future. This is something that I've been talking about for years, and it's often one that I've positioned, uh, building out brand and trust. And I recently talked about this too on a previous Matt Report episode, that it's sort of like this body of work that represents you. Like, I don't like to define personal brand as just like a single initiative. Some days you're promoting, I'm a WordPress developer, and you're making a bunch of content about that, and you think that like defines your personal brand, and then you might switch to something else. I like to look at the personal branding as the trust you build up over an entire journey of your body of work. And I published this video on the WP Minute YouTube channel recently about how I've been replicating a good chunk of what I do at the WP Minute with another website I called pulsewp.cc, which largely just started out as an experiment of learning how to use AI coding, specifically Replit. And now I've sort of evolved that over a few months into something that I think is that experiment now evolving into something that competes against me on purpose. So you can watch the full video. It's about 12 to 15 minutes in length. I can't remember. Sort of goes behind the scenes on how I built Pulse WP with Replit, but a lot of the logic that went into it. So what I'm trying to do is to build something with AI. Well, because everybody says AI is going to replace us, and AI is so much better at content than us. Sort of this tug of war mentally. And I wanted to see, like, how true is that today, right? The other catchphrase a lot of people throw around is the LLM you're using today is the worst it's ever going to be, therefore insinuating that things are going to get so much better in the future. I've always said it's sort of like an iPhone, like next year's version won't be that good. Even the year after that isn't going to be tremendously better. And maybe year 3 from the version that you have, it's okay, maybe it's time to upgrade. And I think maybe that's where AI is going to head. I mean, I don't know, unless I'm totally shocked by what comes out of AI. I'm sort of tempering those expectations. But anyway, the point that I'm getting at is I'm building this AI stuff to compete against me on the content side. See how good it is so that I can have a watchful eye on it, really. I can experiment and push into these AI areas because maybe there's opportunity there. Maybe my competitors are already doing it. Like the other podcasts that you listen to for your digital business might already be generating stuff. Well, not even might. I'm pretty sure in this market, there's going to be a lot of people who are investing in AI to generate content to sell you stuff. And I don't really have anything to sell you stuff, not yet anyway, other than maybe joining the WP Minute Slack group for as little as $5. You can do that at thewpminute.com/support. But I want to just see and understand where this market is headed, which also leads me to understanding, like, how do we compete as human beings with content? Like, if I can do AI content really well in the next couple of years, where people are like, oh, I actually enjoy engaging in this AI content at pulsewp.cc, then what do I do with my time and my efforts on the human side? And somebody tweeted at me. In fact, when I put out this tweet thread today, which I'll try to also share in the in the show notes here if I remember. And Alex Mansfield tweeted at me about Pulse WP. And he says, quote, will the new AI competitor you're making also be going on other podcasts like you do? And I think Alex is hitting the nail on the head right there. And I appreciate, that message, because at this point in time, you don't, the real AI believers will say, well, you'll have an AI avatar of yourself. Think of it as your voicemail message from back in the day. I don't even think I set one nowadays on my phone, but I remember being a kid and having an answering machine, and you'd have like some kind of funny or, sort of like labeled message, like, "Hey, you've reached the Medeiros. We're not home right now. Blah 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 blah. Like, leave a message after the beep." You kind of customize that, and that sort of represented you missing the phone call. Uh, will we have that with AI in the future? I'm sure. I'm sure. Who's going to do it? Zoom, Google Meets, right? These places where you virtually show up, and you'll be able to send your avatar in your place. But I don't see anybody talking about that yet, which is a good thing. So the point is as I evaluate AI, I'm also trying to see where we're winning out as humans. And yes, Alex is right. Humans will win in the interaction. It will win we will win in the experiences that we have, at least for the next 5 years. And that's been how I've been trying to, lead the team at the WP Minute, is we're actively thinking about how we can help people with the stuff that we're doing. I'm trying to actively think about how I can help not only my audience, but our sponsors. Like, how can I inject more human into both sides? Is it going to be more live streams, more in-person events, more workshops? Like, what can we do at the WP Minute that's going to, well, it's going to serve you, the listener. I mean, you're listening here to the Matt Report. Chances are you're probably also a subscriber of the WP Minute. But for freelancers and agency owners, I'm thinking to myself, well, what can I do with my, depth of knowledge of WordPress, experiences of running an agency, all of my experiences across places like Pagely, podcasting at Castos, and now at Gravity Forms, like seeing all of this sort of tech and WordPress and content and community come together. What can I do to inject not only myself, but the team like Eric and Raquel to do deeper things? That's the most professional way, that I can put that. And that's what this whole experiment is about. How good really is AI? And I want to read something, if you'll allow me. This is something that I use ChatGPT a lot. I use a lot of AI, obviously a lot. If you follow me, you kind of know that. And I was thinking to myself, well, maybe what I can do is reference all. I have a GPT. If you don't know what a GPT is, it's sort of like ChatGPT's what I'll call mini chatbots that you can build based on content that you've provided it. And actually, I was looking at it today. 2 years ago, I created this ChatGPT called WP Professional. And at the time that I created it, had 350 interviews, transcripts of interviews that I've had. Let me just make sure I get the date right. Configure. Just want to make sure I'm telling you the right thing, because I was actually astonished that I could do that. How to version history. Did I say 3 years ago? I meant 2 years ago. November 9th, 2023 is when I started this GPT, which is probably right when ChatGPT launched this. Whatever, I dumped all the transcripts I had at the time, which is about 350 of the latest interviews that I've had on the Matt Report and WP Minute. I don't think I went all the way back to the start of the Matt Report, but and WP Minute Plus podcast didn't have that many episodes at the time. So anyway, I dumped all that stuff in there, and now I can chat with it, right? Chat against those transcripts. So another test to try out this AI content stuff, as I said, well, maybe I'll make a podcast episode based on that, right? Based on the ChatGPT and or the GPT, and have it write me a script. So I said, well, here's what I'll do. I'll say, give me a script about positioning, right? In the age of AI, like how does one as a freelancer position themselves to compete in the age of AI. So I'm going to read this to you. This is the script that it gave to me. Picture this. I'm on a discovery call quoting a $5,000 landing page package when the prospect says, hold up, I just watched WordPress.com build a whole site in 5 minutes for $18 a month. My coffee went cold real fast. Welcome to 2025, where generative AI isn't the future, it's the free Chrome extension staring your client in the face. A U.S. bank survey says 36% of small businesses already use Gen AI, and another 21% plan to adopt it within a year. That's from the U.S. Bank 2025 survey. Meanwhile, WordPress.com's AI site builder just threw gasoline on the fire by promising, quote, websites in seconds, no developer required for, well, $18 a month. If you still position yourself as a builder of websites, you're about to feel as relevant as a fax machine repairman. So that's just the intro to that script that ChatGPT made me. And sure, it's like entertaining. If I went to go on to continue to read it, a lot of these things it's citing from are places I have never heard of. And this is like dangerous, I think, where there are people that will just copy paste this stuff or read it into a podcast and just roll with it. Like US Bank 2025. What is that? Like, what am I citing? And I can click this and it's got an Axios link on it. But by the numbers, it links to some other article. And I still haven't even found US Bank 2025. Like, where did that source come from? Later on in this script, it's citing facts from a website called salesforceben.com, crystallize.com, sticky.io. It's very concerning to me about, like, this content can sound good, kind of feel good, but where is it getting this from? And it really starts to make me think, okay, when AI can generate this, can think for us, and this AGI stuff that they're talking about, what is it? How is it getting the experiences to even come up with that stuff? If it's trained on these random sources, how good could that content be? Like, will you really believe that it experienced it? And will that shine through on the content? Yeah, video is going to look good. Like, I think video and images are going to get better. That's like almost an obvious, but that's just the visual. What will the videos be saying? And yeah, I know the argument is like, well, people will believe it. So then what's the point? Sure. But I think I find myself hard pressed to just read these podcast transcripts that ChatGPT 03 has made for me. So the expensive one. I didn't spare any expense on creating that script. So anyway, say all of this because I want to hear from you on how you're going to compete with your own content. How are you thinking about standing out from the crowd? Are you leveraging AI for surface? Like, I'm thinking there might be a world where we turn to AI and say, I'm starting a landscaping business. Create me 100 frequently asked questions that somebody might ask a landscaper. And you just generate it and you put it on your site, and it's no harm, no foul. You're not really standing out, but it's answering those questions for that future customer. And I know the argument of, we'll even have websites. Let's pretend we have websites. And then you're creating that more unique, I guess, human-driven content. I want to know what you think about surviving this AI onslaught of AI content. As it stands right now, it's like this stuff isn't blowing me away, and I'm trying all kinds of things. This is just one experiment. I mean, even the experiment of Pulse WP, I have it measure and rank content with a certain set of criteria that makes, every week Pulse WP will write an article that summarizes the most impactful pieces of content, writes the article, and then produces a podcast literally in my voice, thanks to 11 Labs. But even like I look at what it creates and I'm like, for instance, like it'll always pick a security, no matter what. Any kind of security mention, what like a vulnerability in a plugin with 1,000 installs or 50,000, it will always prioritize security. And on paper, that makes sense. But in our day-to-day lives, we go, big deal. Like, this is not news. This is everyday occurrence. And that kind of like static thinking that AI is doing now, I'm going, well, this isn't as intelligent as we're all making this out to be. So yeah, it's powerful, but I'll tell you, when it comes to knowing like the 1% of how an industry works, it's far from there. It's far from there. So, bit of a rant, but something that's on my mind is how we're surviving and how you're going to produce content in the future to compete not only with your competitors, but with whatever your competitors are doing with AI or AI itself. I think about creating content a lot. Doing many podcasts, doing video content, social media stuff, the WP Minute stuff. So I'm curious to hear what you think as an agency and freelance owner, or a freelance and agency owner. How are you positioning yourself in the world of content? Is it something you're still investing in? Is it something else that you're doing? Because truly what we want to do at the WP Minute is help folks who are in that space navigate these times. Not trying to tell you like what software to use, how to write your CSS, but like how are you thinking about sustaining a business moving forward?